Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. It's your boy DELRAY Richardson, Platinum Artist, Platinum Songwriter, Straight Game TV. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate your time. Do me a favor, click on the thumbs up button, um, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And like I always say, if you want to be one of the first people notified when I drop some of this straight game, please do me a favor and click on what appears to be that little bell notification right below this video. I'm going to get right into it. Wait for a couple of other people to come up in here. J Bill from the UK. Yo, what's good? Appreciate you. My man coming in on this beautiful Sunday evening, if you will. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We got Rondell, Andrew, KK, JMD, Blessings, Minded Incorporated, Dominique Carter, Andrew K. Who was that? Tabil, Andre from B More. What's up, Andre from B More? What's happening? Mar Dizzle. What's good, Mar Dizzle? Thank y'all for coming in, man. I appreciate it. I'm humbled by your presence. Beat Mac, Bro D, big up. What's happening? Thank y'all for the hearts and the likes and the 100s. Very much appreciated. Hey, we're gonna get into it, man. So various things in this Diddy thing, in this Jay-Z thing, but we're gonna start from the back and go from the front. We heard about the young lady who's recently, for most people who haven't really heard about this, the lawyer Tony Buzbee suing Jay-Z has now been sued by a former client of his, claiming that he gave her the claps as an STD. Let's just put it that way. You know, back in the day they would say the claps, gonorrhea, whatever. Let's say a STD, sexually transmitted disease, if you will. Tony Buzbee, the lawyer that is suing Jay-Z, has been sued by a former client, saying that basically she had a sexual relationship with him, and during that sexual relationship, Tony Buzbee allegedly gave her an STD. This is a bombshell, y'all. This is a bombshell. This is a bombshell. Because it's like what goes around comes around, if you will. But more importantly, they called Tony Buzbee Mr. Big Texas, Mr. Big Longhorn. But basically, him filing the case against Jay-Z. And then here comes a lady who was a former client who was married at the time that they had the affair, right? And she was going through what was a divorce. And she said that Tony Buzbee actually convinced her that he could be her attorney. And the crazy part is, it basically says, the Longhorn attorney, Anthony Buzbee, lured the woman. And the crazy part about this is something that is factually based by someone who signed documents to become someone's client, that is saying this about their former attorney. So once again, you haven't really seen it in the mainstream media pop up like the Jay-Z situation has popped up from that perspective, because I guess Jay-Z is who he is. But more importantly, basically the woman said that Tony Buzbee lured the woman who is in an unnamed suit. So basically, her attorney, whoever her attorney is filing a suit like Tony Buzbee filed a suit, the 20 suits against Diddy, and the 13-year-old suit that's just crumbling by the seams against Jay-Z. This young lady, who was a former client of Tony Buzbee, has filed a suit under a Jane Doe. How ironic. How ironic. You know what I mean? They say what goes around comes around, and comes in many forms. Most people don't really understand that. But check it out. Who is unnamed in the suit said she was lured into having a sexual encounter with him by concealing the fact that he had a venereal disease in 2018, the lawsuit claims. So she said she was lured into having a relationship with Tony Buzbee. And in having that relationship with him, he concealed the fact that he had a venereal disease in 2018, the lawsuit claims. Listen, she says that the defendant knew, that Tony Buzbee knew the risk that he would pass the disease off to the plaintiff if he had not taken the appropriate precautions. And when that risk materialized, court documents said, he manipulated her to protect himself from reputational harm using his status as a licensed attorney. Wow. Boom. Explosion. You know what I mean? Without the sound effects, because once again, I'm going to read that again for the people who did not hear it. This lady, who was a former client, who admitted to having a sexual relationship with Tony Buzbee, basically said that Tony Buzbee knew of the risk he would pass the disease off to the plaintiff if he did not take the appropriate precautions, which probably would mean wearing a condom. Evidently, they didn't, and she's admitting to this. And when that risk materialized, court documents read, he manipulated her to protect himself from reputational harm using his status as a licensed attorney. You know, this is crazy, man. This is worse than the Jay-Z situation. If you want to be clearly, like I said, we know for a fact the young lady that Tony Buzbee filed a lawsuit on behalf of can't even prove she even met Jay-Z. All of the stuff that she's told so far has been misrepresented and found to be totally untrue, not based on what I'm saying, but based on the timeline that was presented by the case itself, and then the timeline that came along behind that, which came from Jay-Z's attorney, right? So listen, and this is crazy because the suit filed anonymously. Like I said, Diddy has about 20 lawsuits coming from Tony Buzbee. One lawyer, 20 lawsuits, all filed anonymously, right? It just so happens that this young lady who filed the lawsuit against Tony Buzbee, alleging that he gave her a venereal disease and manipulated her, right, to protect his own interests, has filed her lawsuit anonymously like he has against Diddy and Jay-Z. Listen, the suit filed anonymously on Thursday in Manhattan Supreme Court. Whew, man. She didn't file it in Texas. She filed it in Manhattan. Wow. The same place that Tony Buzbee filed his lawsuit against Jay-Z, all of his lawsuits against Jay-Z and P. Diddy. The suit was filed anonymously on Thursday in Manhattan Supreme Court. The claims that he offered her free legal services. Basically, she's saying that Tony Buzbee offered her free legal services in order to secure her silence and compliance, and became possessive to prevent her from exposing him for what he did to her. Oh, wow. We're talking about, they got a little psychological abuse in here. Like I said, she basically saying that he offered her free legal representation so that, she wouldn't out him in order to secure her silence and compliance, and became possessive to prevent her from exposing him from what he did to her. And out of shame, listen, she said, out of shame, I continued to sleep with Tony Buzbee. See, listen to me. This suit right here sounds more like the Cassie lawsuit against Diddy. This lawsuit that's being filed against Tony Buzbee, this sounds more like the Cassie lawsuit, and I'm going to tell you why. Number one, this young lady who's suing Tony Buzbee is not afraid to admit that she was shameful. She said, out of shame, right? Cassie admitted that, hey, I'm embarrassed, but I did do these things with Diddy, and I slept with other men, and while he watched, and all of those things. See, that kind of admission from a plaintiff, right, is usually more believable because it shows culpability, but her willingness that she was culpable in the situation, if you will, right? So that sounds believable to me. This is where we go over, like, what's believable, what's not believable. Like, the situation involving the Jay-Z situation, we're gonna get to that. But she's basically saying, the woman who filed the lawsuit against Tony Busby said, basically, out of shame, the woman continued to sleep with Busby. Since he was the only sexual partner, she would not have to inform of her venereal disease test results, the suit said. So basically, she's saying, you know what? He had the disease. He gave it to me. Now I have it. Now me sleeping with him is like, she kind of boxed in, is basically what she's saying. So after contracting this disease from Tony Busby, she said, out of shame, I continued to sleep with Busby. Since he was the only sexual partner, she would not have to inform of her venereal disease test results, the suit reads. Now, we can only try to read into what that venereal disease was. Was it herpes? Was it, because herpes, is like what you would say incurable, if you will, and you can pass it on to, other people, I guess, in time without, gonorrhea. We know that you can take penicillin and whatever else. Well, we never know. Could have been chlamydia, could have been anything. But she's saying, basically, based on the fact that allegedly, and this is an allegation, out of shame, the woman continued to sleep with Busby since the only sexual partner, she would not have to inform of her venereal disease test results uh, would be him. Amazing, man. And we talking about Jay-Z and these allegations and the 13-year-old autistic girl and all that, which this suit right here is more akin to the Diddy lawsuit, the suit against Tony Busby from a former client, alleging that he gave her a sexual venereal disease, among other things, is more akin to the Diddy lawsuit, right, than it is to anything else. And I'm talking about the Diddy lawsuit from Cassie and the one in which he settled, right? She said in 2021, Busby allegedly represented, listen, right? Because you got to understand, according to the lawsuit, Busby once reacted violently. So he was violent towards her, allegedly, too. Busby once reacted violently after seeing her talk to another man at a bar in New York City, smashing a glass against her face and leaving her with 2 broken teeth. Oh, this is a real live person admitting that she kept sleeping with this guy. This lawyer, this guy who out here saying he got 120 lawsuits against Diddy. Hold on, let me get that part again. The lady, the young lady is a Jane Doe, basically, listen to me, according to the lawsuit, the Jane Doe lady saying that Tony Busby gave her venereal disease while she had a sexual relationship with him based on the fact that he had represented her. Listen, she said, Busby once reacted violently after seeing her talk to another man at a bar in New York City, smashing a glass against her face, leaving her with 2 broken teeth. What? In 2021, this is not too long ago. In 2021, Busby allegedly represented Jane Doe in her divorce case. So he was representing this young lady in her divorce case. As a result of his manipulations, the suit notes, and promised a vigorous marital fight, right? So he promised her, that I'm going to fight for you vigorously. and I'm going to get you everything that you need from your divorce and all of this. These are some of the things that she alleged that Tony Buzbee, promised her in representing her in her fight, right? In 2000. So this is what, this 3 years ago. This ain't long ago. This ain't 24 years ago with some Jane Doe that was allegedly 30. See what I mean? See what I mean? One has to be careful. When you live in a glass house, one must not throw stones. Listen, and this case has been, whatever lawyer has filed this case in Manhattan court, the same jurisdiction that Tony Buzbee filed against Jay-Z. I need y'all to listen to this, man. See, once again, if you didn't hear about this, you can hear about it today. We're going to give you nothing but straight game. Listen, and let's keep in mind that these are allegations, but these allegations coming with a little bit more material and accusations by someone who's saying, hey, you know what? He gave me a venereal disease, right? Allegedly, right? And in him giving me a venereal disease, I continued to sleep with him, right? So she's admitting the part that she also played in it. That's why this is much more believable. And it's not just saying, oh, I'm a victim, oh, I'm a victim. She says, no, I'm a victim, but I also participated in it. This is the same thing that Cassie did in the lawsuit against Diddy. That's why it was so much more believable from that perspective. Not only the similarities in that, but also the fact that that they had a relationship. See, Cassie and Diddy had a relationship. This young lady is alleging that her and Tony Buzbee had a relationship. This wasn't a one-off, right? And so much so that, that he got violent with her because she was talking to another man at a bar in New York City and smashed her in the face with a glass in her face, leaving her with 2 broken teeth. So Tony Buzbee, according to her, is an alleged woman abuser. And at the time, the crazy time, at that particular time, she said she was still married. Let's go on. And listen, but man, look. So, and he promised her in representing her in her divorce that he's going to fight vigorously for her and get her all that she was due in this situation. Instead, the suit alleges that Buzbee used the opportunity to doctor plaintiff's medical records. Listen, she's saying that, so now we're understanding that Tony Buzbee is not, from what the young lady saying in her suit, somebody who had a sexual relationship with him, knew him personally, and all of these other things. She's saying that he's not a stranger in doctoring things, right? Falsifying records, if you will. Instead, the suit alleges that Buzbee used the opportunity to doctor plaintiff's medical records to make it look as if he could not have been the one who infected her with the venereal disease. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. By altering the date of the STD results from 2018 to 2020. Amazing. If true, y'all coming down on Jay-Z, here come a lady saying, hey, look, I had a relationship with him. He hit me in my face and smashed the glass in my face, knocking out 2 of my teeth. Gave me a venereal disease, and then on top of giving me a venereal disease, tried to use his power as a lawyer to doctor her medical records, right? Look, instead, the suit alleged Buzbee used the opportunity to doctor plaintiff's medical records to make it look as if he could not have been the one who infected her with the venereal disease by altering the date of the STD results from 2018 to 2020. Now, that can be easily, see, this is the problem that Tony Buzbee gonna have. That from the original doctor's report, listen, and I want you to listen to this carefully because you're gonna catch some game today. Check this out. If he did that, she can prove it. I'm gonna tell you one more time. If he did that and there is documentation of him or any time during their relationship that there's a 2020 doctor report reading that is 2020, right? Knowing from the original diagnosis of her having a venereal disease happened in 2018, right? That's easily provable, right? So she's alleging that he doctored the medical report, making it say from 2018 to 2020, making it seems as if her husband, listen, y'all, no, Tony Buzbee, she said Tony Buzbee tried to blame it on her estranged husband who she was getting a divorce from, right? Making it seem as if her husband was the infected party responsible and not him. Good Googa Mugga. Good Googa Mugga. What? Wow. Listen, y'all. She said he then used those medical records in a failed attempt. Listen, so he failed at it. He then used the same records that he tried to doctor in a failed attempt to blackmail the husband to circumvent ordinary negotiations. So what Tony Busby tried to do, he tried to use the doctored medical information, saying it was from 2020, right? Basically, going through with the divorce, basically presenting the medical record, saying, "Oh, she's saying that, oh, you gave her a venereal disease," as to hope that the husband would then, in fact, say, "You know what? Let me just go ahead and give you half of what this is, and we can go ahead and walk away," because it would be so embarrassing. See, this is another tactic, that same tactic that's being applied or trying to be applied against Jay-Z. The embarrassing factor. Y'all get it? Let me allege all of this stuff, and the 13-year-old, and she's a Caucasian girl, and I probably could get a jury that can believe this against Jay-Z's a black guy, and all of this, and using all of these tropes, right, to be able to proceed against Jay-Z. Listen, he tried again with one of his clients, and she's now coming out and admitting to it. Listen to this, y'all. Listen. Not only did she allege that Tony Busby doctored the records, but he then used those medical records in a failed attempt. Listen, a failed attempt to blackmail the lady's husband to circumvent ordinary negotiations via a demand letter stating his fraudulent claims. So he wrote the husband a demand letter like he did in Jay-Z's case. He wrote the husband a demand letter stating fraudulent claims in which this lady is stating, but the husband didn't take the bait, the suit said, because guess what? He didn't have the venereal disease. Amazing. 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 Or he may have had it. Who knows? Don't let me get ahead of myself. Right? But the end result was the husband did not take the bait. He said, "Nah, I ain't going for it. That's the 52 fake out. I'ma stand 10 toes down on business. Period." Right? Listen. Tony Busby ended up settling for a fraction of what Jane Doe should have received. So after all of the manipulation, lying, and conniving bullshit, right? Tony Busby ended up. Can you hear me? Let me know if you can hear me. B Mac, you can hear me? We on the one? Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry for the interruption. You know what I mean? Some things are just out of our control. But let's get back into it. So, like I said, this young lady who was suing Tony Buzbee, right? Basically say he manipulated her medical records to make it look like after allegedly him giving her venereal disease, Tony Buzbee manipulated her medical records, basically stating that the disease came from her husband, who he was representing her in divorcing from. But even though he did all of that, it still didn't work because Tony Buzbee ended up selling her case for a fraction of what she would normally had received, right? In order to resolve the matter as quickly as possible and bury his egregious misconduct. So, after he did it, he fired it off. It didn't work, and it sounds just like this Jay-Z case, man. Listen, he fired off the case against Jay-Z, right? We see now that it's crumbling and it's not going to work, right? The lady who Tony Buzbee had the relationship with and did all of these things, she said he smashed her in the face in New York with a glass after he seen her talking to another man. 1, violence, right? 2, he manipulated her medical records after she said that he gave her a venereal disease. Number 2, after giving her the venereal disease, he then went and tried to doctor the medical records, saying that it did not happen in 2018, but happened in 2020, as a method to present to the husband and trying to make him negotiate out of fear of embarrassment. Don't that remind you of something? Out of fear of embarrassment, like Jay-Z situation, hoping that Jay-Z would settle the case out of fear of embarrassment. But Jay-Z said, no, listen, these tactics are something that seems to me, allegedly, that Tony Buzbee is a subscriber of, and trying to implement these tactics against other people and trying to humiliate them into settling frivolous lawsuits that have no merit at all, according to this lady, right? It didn't work against her husband. She's saying my ex-husband didn't go for it. Check it out. She said Tony Buzbee then used those medical records in a failed attempt to blackmail her then husband at that time, to circumvent the ordinary negotiations. So instead of negotiating in good faith like he promised her when he took on her divorce case, right? He then tried to, what she said, commit fraud. What she said to circumvent the ordinary negotiations via a demand letter stating his fraudulent claim. But the husband didn't take the bait. The husband, he didn't go for it. And then Buzbee ended up settling for a fraction of what she would normally have received, basically cheating her out of half of what she felt like she should have gotten a divorce, right? In order to resolve the matter as quickly as possible, to bury the fact that he had basically manipulated those medical records and all of that. Because the husband could have came back and shot back and be like, what y'all talking about? And what's this thing and all of this going on? But guess what? What's done in the dark soonly and surely comes out in the light, because she just filed a lawsuit in New York, in Manhattan, in the same district that Tony Buzbee is filing all of these other lawsuits. So guess what? If he thought he was going to fight the case from Texas by electronic filing, no, he's going to have to show up in court in New York. Amazing. Amazing. Right? Look, and the reason why she said not only was it to bury these egregious misconducts by avoiding discovery, the lawsuit says. So in discovery, right, he would have to produce those medical records, those doctored medical records, to her husband's attorney. Get it? He tried to bluff the husband with the doctored medical records, right? and just showing and saying, hey, we got this, whatever. So we got to be careful with whether any of it was, released to the court, right? But the lady who was a lover of Tony Buzbee at that time and a client of Tony Buzbee at that time, right? Basically saying that he, in fact, tried to basically did hurry up to resolve the matter as quickly as possible to bury his egregious misconduct by avoiding discovery. The lawsuit claims he would have had to give those documents over to her husband's lawyer, and it would have been a matter of law now. Okay, cool. He would have had submitted fake documents to the court. Amazing. Amazing. So he hurried up and settled the case. Right, listen. The cold part about the game, as much as Tony Buzbee has been, every time Jay-Z and lawyer and them say something, he comes back out, he has a reply for that, right? A phone call was sent to Tony Buzbee's Houston office, was not returned Friday. So he went on TV and talked about the 120 cases he had against Diddy and how Jay-Z case was, a matter of something that they were going to fight vigorously in court. You know what I mean? And all of this other self-righteous garbage, right? Now he's being sued in court by somebody who said they had a sexual relationship with him. Somebody who said that he bashed her in the face with a glass in a New York City nightclub. Somebody who she said gave her a venereal disease. And then tried to doctor the medical records in regards to that venereal disease while representing her in her divorce case, trying to state that it did not happen in 2018, but it happened in 2020, so that Tony Buzbee could then blame her husband for giving her the venereal disease and not him. And then when it didn't work out, it was a failed blackmail attempt. And then when it didn't work out, Tony Buzbee then quickly settled the case for less than what the young lady whom he was having a sexual relationship with bashed in the face, gave a venereal disease, right? Doctored her medical records, would have received from her husband, cheating her out of half of what she would have received. Now, after all of this has been alleged in court, in the jurisdiction in New York, right? A call and email sent to Tony Buzbee's Houston office was not returned Friday. But when the situation with Jay-Z, oh man, you mean to tell me he can't stand as tall when it's against him versus when it's against Jay-Z versus when it's against Sean P. Diddy Combs? So that tells me that there is something skeptical and should I say very worrisome about these allegations that Tony Buzbee has alleged against Sean P. Diddy Combs as well as Jay-Z, and that all of them were filed under Jane or John Doe cases, right? Right? The young lady was pitched forward in a silhouette shot on NBC stating all of these things in regards to Jay-Z, but once matched up against the timeline and pictures from the Twirl nightclub, as well as the other nightclub that Sean P. Diddy Combs was there at that night, it didn't seem to bode well. But now Tony Buzbee is facing his own brand of a Jane Doe lawsuit, whom not only it's a Jane Doe to us, but it's not a Jane Doe to Tony Buzbee. Tony Buzbee know who she is because he represented her. See, that's the difference. Tony Buzbee know who she is like Diddy knew who Cassie was. Why? Because he had a relationship with her. Right? And so now, like I said, Tony Buzbee now, the lawyer has had a number of lawsuits. Tony Buzbee has had a number of lawsuits filed against him in recent weeks, and Buzbee says that Jay-Z and Roc Nation are behind it all. Well, let's clear that up, ladies and gentlemen. Jay-Z and Roc Nation didn't tell. This was in 2018, right? That he had this relationship with this lady. Jay-Z and Rock Nation didn't have nothing to do with Tony Busby in 2018. Jay-Z and Rock Nation had nothing to do with Tony Busby dating this lady, allegedly being in New York with her, allegedly smashing her in her face with a glass or whatever, knocking out two of her teeth, allegedly giving her venereal disease. Jay-Z and Rock Nation didn't have nothing to do with that. Jay-Z and Rock Nation didn't coax Tony Busby to negotiate or to represent this young lady and try to blackmail her husband. The young lady in this suit is making these allegations. See how people have a problem being responsible for their own actions and always looking to try to blame other people when it comes down to them. But when they can point the finger at someone else, oh, it's exactly everything that they said and more. It's crazy how that works, isn't it? It's real crazy how that works. But check this out. Rock Nation has been illegally soliciting individuals for several weeks to sue my law firm, right? Who could they solicit to sue the law firm, his law firm, if none of those people have valid cases? Is that something that Tony Busby would know about? Because he did have the 1-800 number, correct? Wouldn't that be solicitation? Soliciting people to sue P. Diddy in requesting that they actually call this 1-800 number? Wouldn't that be solicitation? So what they're saying is basically, if it's true, like I said, which I can't see that it being true, once again, of the things that I just named before with the young lady who had the personal relationship with Tony Busby. That happened before all of this Diddy stuff and all of this stuff was being launched. That relationship that happened with them, this was 3 years ago. None of this stuff was happening involving Diddy and Jay-Z 3 years ago. So the lady who's making these accusations has a viable claim. Not because Jay-Z or Rock Nation told him to, because the situation that she was involved with happened way before that. Once again, when you understand it, right? That's what Tony Busby is alleging, right? In the Houston Chronicle earlier this week regarding a pair of suits alleging he harmed former clients of his. These two individuals who took the bait were promised money to bring the case. Oh no, they need not. So Tony Busby is basically saying the two individuals that have sued him so far were coaxed to do it by Jay-Z and Rock Nation. That's not true. That wouldn't be true based on the information in the time period in which the allegations or the alleged misconduct happened. This was 3 years before the Jay-Z thing, right? So there had to be some kind of interaction before, right? For there to even be accusations made in regards to the case. Now, see if it was something that they just conjured up, but I'm sure there's signed documents, Tony Busby representing this young lady in her divorce, right? And all of these other things. So this actually happened. See, unlike the Jay-Z situation, which was just a mere accusation and saying something, and then when pushed to prove it, whether a person could prove it or not, it couldn't be proved. You understand the difference? And I think Tony Busby knows this too. So now he's basically saying that the two individuals who took the bait were promised money to bring the case. No, because if their case is viable, they're going to get money from Tony Busby. They don't have to, Jay-Z and them don't have to promise them money. Because if they lose the case, they would be paying money to Tony Busby for him and his attorney's fees. See, so that doesn't make sense. Get it? If the young lady who's suing Tony Busby loses her case, she would have to pay Tony Busby and Tony Busby's lawyers for the legal expenses. So for him to say that Jay-Z and them promised money to them to do that, it wouldn't be financially feasible to do that. Like how? How does that work? They're gonna pay this person how much money to sue Tony Busby? This is not, like I said, the person did not have a prior relationship. In fact, Tony Busby, the young lady in this one case, was her client. Was his client. Right? Right? Listen. Listen, he said defendants have been conspired to obstruct justice by engaging shadowy operatives to illegally seek out more than 24 current and former clients of the Busby law firm to convince those clients to bring frivolous cases against the Busby law firm, reads the suit filed on Wednesday by Busby. So how does he know that they shadowy operatives? What these shadowy operatives? The lady said that he represented her. Ain't nothing shadowy about her. She was in the clear. So much so that she said that Tony Busby gave her venereal disease. Right. So how does that work? Huh? Listen to this. Busby filed a lawsuit in October claiming that Jay-Z, along with Sean P. Diddy Combs, basically SA'd a 13-year-old girl at a party in 2000. So Tony Busby wants us to believe that he has a factual case against Jay-Z. Let's just deal with Jay-Z. Well, let's deal with this in particular one, Jay-Z and P. Diddy, from the year 2000. And everything in that case, according to what his client has said, has been truthful. But he wants us to think, right, that something that allegedly happened 3 years ago with somebody whom he actually represented, had a sexual relationship with. She said he gave her a venereal disease. He bashed her in her face with a glass at a New York bar because she was talking to another man, chipping or knocking out 2 of her teeth, right? He wants us to believe that the Jay-Z case is more viable, truthful, and factual than something that happened 3 years ago from somebody that he actually knows. Check it out now. Some wicked people, man. And wicked, man. Wicked. And see, the mere accusation that he made against Jay-Z, he was hoping that once again, the tactic that he tried against this lady's husband by doctoring the medical records would work against Jay-Z. The embarrassment factor, right? It didn't work. It didn't work against that dude. And evidently it's not working against Jay-Z because Jay-Z fighting it all the way. Wow. So what's going to happen with these other 20 lawsuits? I don't think nothing. Now, I'm telling y'all, I've been telling y'all since day one. Like, dude, somebody coming on TV talking about we got 120 lawsuits, right? In regards to Jane Doe and people who alleged and all of these things, then try to connect Jay-Z to it. Then, alleging that Jennifer Lopez was somehow involved because she was the only female that could have been involved. That was a celebrity B that was named in the case, and then trying to then bring a case against her. It all stinks to hell, man. It stinks to hell. It stinks to hell. But this case against Tony Busby, man, according to this young lady, man, she got facts. She got dates and times and places and glasses going against her face. She got documents. She got a attorney-client when you sign up with a lawyer, and her signing up being Tony Busby to represent her. Man, does he have to produce his medical? See, this way it get real funky at, right? Does he have to produce his medical records? How about that, y'all? Ain't think about that one, did you? See, because if she's saying that she had something and she got it from him, he's never alleged getting it from her. So listen, in discovery in this case, listen to y'all, in the discovery in this case, if the lawyer says that you have to submit your medical records from in and around about that time, right? Based on the allegations made against Mr. Busby, right? And it comes to find out that he had this disease, it's even worse. It's even worse. So when you think about the big picture of what that really means, oh yeah, They listening for ideas. Yeah, they are. Huh? Jay-Z denies his claim. And his attorney, Alex Spiro, who also represented New York, who's also representing New York Mayor Eric Adams, says in his suit is full of inconsistencies, man. Full of inconsistencies, right? And then so now you got people talking about. See, this is where this shit doesn't start to make sense or make sense at all. Listen, y'all. Now they talking about on the internet that that Diddy somehow snitched on Jay-Z. How many people think in the chat that Diddy snitched on Jay-Z, y'all? Just a show of hands, yes, no. I'll wait. Aubrey Allen say don't believe it. B Max says no. A Black Cash Dream say I don't know. Right, B Mac, on what? That's my question was on what. But let me tell you what people, and sometimes people just for the lack of any kind of common sense, the lack of any kind of research or any, I would say common sense in this one. Check it out. So they're basically saying that to, I guess, get the algorithms to move. Right? But let's be clear. Sean P. Diddy Combs, it wouldn't be it wouldn't be in his best interest to do that. Number one in Diddy's best interest. Remember, who would he snitch to? The guy who's now including Jay-Z in a lawsuit, that the same lawsuit that Diddy is involved in? This is what they want us to believe. That Diddy would snitch on Jay-Z about something that didn't happen, which Jay-Z could prove, which Sean P. Diddy Combs he wasn't there for, because Jay-Z wasn't there for. How does that even work? Right? But yet you have people making these accusations, right? In regards to Diddy allegedly snitching on Jay-Z. See, once again, this is the internet. The internet, they say the internet is undefeated. That's not true. It's not true. The internet is a vehicle, right? But the people driving the vehicle have been defeated more than once with their inconsistencies and their stories and the things that they try to make. What's the name? It doesn't make sense. So Diddy would snitch on Jay-Z to who? Tony Busby? So yeah, include Jay-Z in the lawsuit too about something that didn't happen. Doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense. Something that Jay-Z didn't happen, Diddy didn't happen. Proof, pictures, and all of that showed that they weren't there, right? So where would that fall on the level of common sense? And people would turn to the fact that they're saying, well, I'm just saying. That's what no, you're not just saying. You're saying something that you have no knowledge, proof, or evidence to even say, right? So it's just pure speculation. Just saying, I'm just speculating. I'm just trying to create an argument or conversation around something because I really don't have nothing substantive to say. So let me go ahead and, let me just say something about something because it ain't really nothing. That's what's happening, y'all. That's what's happening. But like I said, once again, when we look at the evidence and the proof, right? We look at what we can believe, what a person who has a relationship with a person like this lady had with Tony Busby, basically saying that alleging that he did all of these things to her, right? Right? That's a little bit more plausible than a 2000, the year 2000 after the VMAs, and let me contrast this. 2000 in the VMAs, where the young lady who was 13 years old said that she needed to sneak out of her window, right? She said, I snuck out the window in and around the time it would have to happen at 3 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the evening. You got to sneak out your house at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. You know what I mean? To go to the VMAs. It's not believable, right? To drive 5 hours to then go and say, yeah, I waited outside, and then come up with this story about how you met this limo driver, right? Whom they don't have an affidavit from saying, hey, yes, this 13-year-old. See, because the limo driver, let's be clear about this. The limo driver, whom this young lady said she met, whom she said the young lady got her to, this limo driver that got her to sign some kind of piece of paper, the limo driver would have been more culpable than Diddy or Jay-Z would have been had it actually been true. He was the one that was basically, I would say, basically trying to sex traffic this girl, because she said that the limo driver said, oh yeah, you the type of person, you're Sean P. Diddy Combs type. So if he knowing or not caring to ask that she was 13, wouldn't the limo driver be more guilty if it did happen, but it didn't happen? Hypothetically, wouldn't he be more guilty than Jay-Z or P. Diddy? He would have been trafficking the young lady to an older adult. Now, wouldn't that be true? So we need to talk to this limo driver. Where is he at? Can we find him? He doesn't exist. I'm sorry for laughing, but it doesn't exist. The limo driver doesn't exist. He's a part of this fictional story that has been made up. Aubrey Allen, you exactly right. You're one of the intelligent ones. You know what I mean? You know, well, it doesn't exist. So now the limo driver then drives her off. This is how crazy the story is. But then contrast that with the Tony Buzbee story of what this lady is saying in her lawsuit, right? So then he drives her off to this house with the U-shaped driveway. It's a white house, right? And Jay-Z and P. Diddy Combs then comes into this room after she served a drink by a waitress. By a waitress? At a house party? So there was a waitress at the house party. Oh, okay. No, it didn't happen. Then she goes and she looks and to go into this room after she feels bad to lay down. She goes into the room, lays down, and all of a sudden, boom, Jay-Z, Diddy, and Celebrity B, who we know to be Jennifer Lopez because that's who was together with Diddy that night, right? Comes in the room and say, oh, now, this 13-year-old autistic young lady, right? You know, and I'm not making fun of that at all. I just want to be, you know, this is what the reality is that Tony Buzbee is alleging, right? That he's saying that his client is alleging, right? Jay-Z, P. Diddy, and Jennifer Lopez bust in the room, and they're like, now, so you ready to party? I needed to pause right there. You see how crazy that shit sound? See how crazy that sound? That's crazy. That's beyond crazy. Oh, and Jennifer Lopez sits there and she watches. See what I mean? See, people are trying to get you to believe and characterize people as some kind of sadistic, crazy, and get you to think all of these crazy things. And then not only that, but the media, who's supposed to be responsible, runs with it. Jay-Z alleged to rape the 13-year-old and blah, 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 blah. Jay-Z been added to a lawsuit and they were and blah, 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 blah. It's alleged that it was after the 2000 VMAs and blah, 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 blah. Right? Knowing goddamn well they ain't got no proof and they haven't even seen anything. And then where it's coming from, not a lawyer from New York. Not someone who lives in New York, but a lawyer from Texas. Oh, not only that though, but then once called on it, Then Tony Busby then says, oh no, you know what? This case right here. Oh yeah, we got this from another lawyer who had vetted everything. Then they sent her over to us and we just filed the case. And then when they called him on it, then he said, you know what? We still vetting her claims. Not only that, but she's agreed to take a lie detector test. Who would the lie detector test in fact benefit? Because a lie detector test is not admissible in court. See the games they play. See the games they play. But see now, once this lady has come out, whom he represented, allegedly had a sexual relationship with, allegedly hit her in her face with a glass and bust her face and knocked two of her teeth out, chipped two of her teeth out, right? Allegedly, he gave her a venereal disease, then tried to doctor the medical records, and so that Tony Busby could try to blame her husband for doing it. Her husband didn't fall for the blackmail. It didn't work. Jay-Z didn't fall for the blackmail. It ain't gonna work. Tony Busby quickly tried to settle the case and did settle the case to avoid the embarrassment of having to go and present discovery in the divorce case, and where those doctor notes or medical records would have to be presented in that case. Let me tell you something. I don't know if the medical records was ever handed over to the husband, but if they were, and he still got the medical records, and somehow, some way, that lady, the young lady, and her husband are cool again. People get cool again after a while, and because they married and divorced, and kind of say, hey, you know what, it didn't work out, and they see each other, be like, look, but he tried to do this, but if that come to light, Tony Busby in trouble, man. Tony Busby in trouble. Sometimes you got to leave shit well enough alone. And because you don't leave shit well enough alone, other shit get exposed. Right? You get it? If Tony Busby would have never filed these suits against Sean P. Diddy Combs, this lady would have never came out and felt emboldened to come out, that she see now that Jay-Z has come out and is now suing Tony Busby. On side of that, you don't know who this lady knows that lives in Houston. You see what I'm saying? And so when he did that, he created a domino. Tony Busby created a domino effect in suing Jay-Z with this frivolous, false, fictitious lawsuit. It's simple as that. And now he's being made to be held accountable for his actions that he's alleged to have committed against somebody who he represented. And now he's trying to blame it on Jay-Z. Jay-Z and them telling them to do it. What? Jay-Z didn't tell you to have sex with her, allegedly. Jay-Z didn't tell you to hit her in the face with the glass, allegedly. Jay-Z didn't tell you to not tell her that you had a venereal disease, allegedly. Right? Jay-Z didn't tell you to doctor her medical records, allegedly, to present to her husband and trying to blackmail him, allegedly. But it happened, according to Jane Doe, in that lawsuit against you, Tony Busby. See what I'm saying? Man. And like all of I'm aware of Tony Busby's track record, all of the BP lawsuits and the oil companies and all. I'm aware of all of that. I'm thoroughly researched, right? That's a different monster when you're coming up against somebody like Jay-Z. Because the oil companies, they basically were at fault. They admitted that they were at fault. It's a mistake. It happens in the course of business. Even how catastrophic it was, it happened. You know what I mean? But more importantly, they settled and they said, hey, we want to settle this. But in this situation involving Jay-Z, someone is making a claim and then they're trying to stick by it and say, hey, better hope that young lady who Tony Busby and them saying that said this all about Jay-Z don't never get the heart to say, you know what? He told me to lie. He told me to make up this story because it's going to be believable. Allegedly. Get it? So when we talk about that, What you saying? Yeah, hey, Carla Shepherd, absolutely. Karma, man. Karma. People don't. Karma is undefeated. Karma is undefeated. What Ari Allen say? Who timed you out? You say as long as people don't look like Diddy. Oh my God, what they doing now? Joe, we ain't interested in the rapper roundup, JoJo. You ain't got to come over here pushing nothing like that. Yeah, Red man, absolutely. You know, when I look at that, like I said once again, the we don't hear about the Abercrombie and Finch guy. Y'all know it's been alleged that he had did some kind of sex trafficking and some kind of nefarious dealings with young boys and things like that from that perspective, but we don't really hear about him. You know what I mean? It's Jay-Z and P. Diddy, you know what I mean? Like I say once again, we understand why Jay-Z's married to Beyonce, one of the most famous people in the world, and all of those things. Oh, okay. I feel you. It's all good. But yeah, unfortunately, you know, yeah, most of it is BS. It's like I say once again, Carla Shepard. It's not even that actually that she's dreaming. It's all made up. That's the part that people don't get. Pop the bubble wrap. Uh, Ti baby one who ain't famous. Who y'all talking about? The young lady who's not famous. I'm trying to catch on to what y'all talking about. Or who are you talking about? Should I say? Gang, what up from Detroit? Latif, what's good? Streets is watching. Northern Dane, Victor TV, say less. Oh, she ain't famous. Beyonce not famous. Right. See, some of y'all need to get it together, man. It's like if you're not going to actively participate in the conversation in a constructive manner, man, just go and get off the internet, man. Yeah, absolutely. I thought about that too, but that part right there is definitely true. And the charges being brought against Diddy, RICO charges, like I said, which I haven't really seen. You know, you got a RICO. They saying the criminal organization. I want to see what this criminal organization looks like because they haven't shown us anything like that. To be perfectly honest with you, I think Trump gonna pardon Diddy. So because it doesn't look like any kind of real evidence, real factual evidence. All we heard is allegations. You know what I mean? Like what this young lady saying about Tony Busby is different. You know, now they got Diddy allegedly snitching on Jay-Z, which is totally um, crazy, ludicrous, and all of the other things that you could possibly think of in regards to that. Beyonce doesn't need you to bow down to her. She don't even know that you exist, man. What you talking about? People come on the internet trying to impose their personal feelings about celebrities that don't even know you exist. Like I'll never bow down to her. She doesn't even know you exist, man. Stop it. Well, whose career? Whose career is over, y'all? Diddy's? Uh, Diddy's career has been over. We seen with the last album that he put out. The album didn't do well. Yeah. I mean, but like I said, it's not even about, like I said, it's not even about a career being over. One having money, one being secure. Like I said, Diddy was willing to offer up 50 million for bail. You know what I mean? So he's far from broke. And like I say, most people, you know, when you talk about living in a cloud of rarefied air, will never even get to that level of money and finance. Like I said, even though that does not mean everything, it truly honestly doesn't. Because one has to be happy with themselves before they can be happy with any amount of money that they may obtain. But more so than that, we're talking about justice, and we're talking about allegations and things like that that are being made against somebody that may not be true. Yeah. But like I said, that's up to him and his career. His career been over. That's been over. The last album flopped. We know every, you know what I mean. Diddy's career has been over since, and to be perfectly honest with you, since Biggie died. You know what I mean? There's never really been anything like, and I said the last song that really hit hard was Every Step, and that was the Sting sample versus, you know, the song about Biggie dying and so on and so forth. You know, other than that, you got the Mario Winans, I Need a Girl, and all of those things. So I wouldn't know about celebrity fame. So I don't know, you know what I mean? Unless you lived in celebrity and you know, had people chasing you around, I wouldn't know nothing about it. I guess y'all do. T.I., TT Baby, one, yeah. Who can't let it go to trial? It's going to trial. You can't do nothing else but let it go to trial. What do you mean? You don't cop out to something you didn't do. Yeah, you're right, Carla. People be drinking and smoking and doing a whole bunch of things, getting on the internet. You know what I mean? Trying to, I guess, have some kind of platform. But like I said, this is the situation involving Tony Busby, right? And more importantly, when we talk about that, the suit basically, listen, the suit was filed in Manhattan Thursday, claims that he offered the lady free legal advice, man, and that to secure her silence and compliance, he became possessive. So she had some of that good. He became possessive over her, right? To prevent her from exposing him from what he did to her. You know what I mean? So after Tony Busby, she alleged that after Tony Busby did all of those things, right? He in turn turned around and offered her free legal advice, right? Or free legal counsel to represent her, I guess, in future cases if she had one or whatever, uh, uh, to prevent her from exposing what he had did to her. Out of shame, she said she kept sleeping with him after giving her the venereal disease. Out of shame, she kept sleeping with Tony Busby uh, since that he was the only one, the only sexual partner she would not have to inform of her venereal disease test results. So the fact that she had been test positive for some kind of venereal disease that she alleged that Tony Busby gave to her, she said out of embarrassment and out of shame, she kept sleeping with him because he was the only one that she had to reveal to her test to. And if that's true, the crazy part is that not only did she keep sleeping with him, but he kept sleeping with her. You know what I mean? So I think that's the more than interesting part is that part right there. Like I said, and she claimed the violence. She, like I said, once again, I'm gonna sum it up. Busby once reacted violently to this young lady uh, after seeing her talk to another man in a New York bar, and he smashed her in her face with a glass, leaving her two front teeth broken. Right. In 2021, Busby allegedly represented the girl who is a Jane Doe, ironically, in her divorce case. As a result of his manipulations, the suit notes and promised a vigorous marital fight. Instead, the suit alleges that Busby used the opportunity to doctor plaintiff's medical records to make it look as if he could not have been the one who infected her with the venereal disease by altering the date on the STD results from 2018 to 2020, making it seem if her husband, whom she was, divorcing, was the infected party, responsible, and not Tony Buzbee. Yeah, yeah. So yes, it's gonna be interesting, man. That Tony Buzbee now has his own couple of Jane Doe or John Doe lawsuits in the works. So, like I said, I appreciate you guys for stopping by, and more importantly, we said, what did he say? You say when Diddy teams gets what videos? What videos? We haven't seen any videos yet. We don't even know if videos exist. I doubt that they do. Yeah, but we have to get to discovery. Once we get to discovery, we're gonna see. But once again, when people say videos, that tells me you don't know what you're talking about. What videos? Showing what? You got to understand what Diddy's being charged for and how videos would correlate to those charges, exposing him for doing what? No, the videos are not out there. What are y'all talking about? What videos? The videos are out there. Ooh. What are videos at, man? What y'all talking about? What video? The videos are out there. Where are they? I told you once again. I did the interview with the guy. What was his name? Todd, whatever. Todd, and he came with that book that everybody bought. They were suckered into buying that book, right? The book about Kim, allegedly by Kim Porter. Let me see if I can find it back. Let me see if I can. Hold on. I think I got it right here. Yeah. I still got it on my desk. This book right here. They was alleging that they had videos. What the videos at, y'all? This book been snatched off of Amazon, man. Go to the Art of Dialogue right now and check it out. Check out the interview I did with Chris Todd was his name. Yeah. Go check out the video. The guy, he came out with the book and came and did the interview. And after 2 hours after the video was up on the Art of Dialogue, guess what? The book was yanked off of Amazon, y'all. Y'all act like look, y'all acting like because somebody said what video? They don't have any video. What video do they have? The only video that they really have is the Cassie video. Video showing what? Diddy is alleged to have sex trafficking, right? Running a continued criminal organization. Doing what? He had money. He wasn't right. The video's out there. Tone, where they at? You can't keep saying the video's out there. You can't prove nothing. You're beginning to sound foolish now. You know. Absolutely, Calvin Mack. That's what I'm saying. I'm sorry, Calvin Mick. My bad. How can you say videos out there that you ain't never seen before? See, this is listen, man. This is what I'm saying. This is the problem with certain people, right? If you tell them something, depending on, it's not really fighting what they know, but it's fighting what they believe. You see what I'm saying? And when you understand the psychological aspect of some people and how they work as far as how they think, it's not based on what they know, but it's what they believe. And see, Tone is one of those people who believe that there are videos out there. Cue in the Twilight Zone. Or whatever, right? Jeopardy. You know what I mean? The Fed seen what? You don't know what the Fed seen. What you mean? What did when they seen them? They didn't present any evidence that they had videos of any kind of behavior that would warrant what they said it was. They went on. They actually trying to get Courtney Burgess to show the videos that he's saying that he had. Because guess what? The same videos that Courtney Burgess was alleging that he had, the guy that was on the Art of Dialogue that was presenting this book was working with Courtney Burgess. Do y'all understand that? And when I asked him about the videos, he was saying the videos would bring the same guy that was on the Art of Dialogue, Chris Todd, representing this book, was working with Courtney Burgess. The book is not on Amazon no more because nothing in this book is true. Period. So you can sit here and argue, and tell you they're guilty, bro. They ain't even been to trial, but they're guilty. All right, they're guilty, Tom. We're not gonna argue with speculation. Speculation doesn't get an argument here. It does have something to do with Jay-Z. Jay-Z was named in this book. That's where the speculation came in with Jay-Z, and they went on the internet looking at pictures and being like, we can create a case with this. Let's hope that he'll, settle when we create this fictitious case. It didn't work. It's not working. It's falling apart, Tone. Yeah, we seen the Cassie tape. The Cassie tape stands alone. The Cassie tape was a state charge, bro. Talk about it. Talk about facts. Don't talk about feelings. The feelings about the Cassie tape are different from the facts involving the Cassie tape, as the DA in Los Angeles talked about the Cassie tape, and they asked why didn't he file charges? And that's because of the statute of limitations had already worn out, Tone. Let's not talk about your feelings. Let's talk about the facts. If you're incapable of articulating the facts, don't participate in the conversation. No, Tony Buzbee wasn't never arrested. We didn't know anything about it. The young lady said she kept sleeping with him out of shame. You know what I mean? But the question you should be asking: did Tony Buzbee know this young lady who's accusing her? Did Tony Buzbee have an intimate relationship with her? Did Tony Buzbee represent her in her marriage or divorce? Was there some type of an agreement that she signed with him as her attorney in her divorce? Right? These are the questions that you should be asking. The same thing in the Jay-Z case. Did this young lady meet Jay-Z at the age of 13 where she says she met Jay-Z? Well, let's start it off. First of all, the house that she said that they were at didn't exist. Number two, the band members that she said she talked to at the party weren't there. See, these are all people who would be, beneficial in the case in any other, viable way, but they said that we weren't there. The house doesn't exist. Her father says she doesn't remember it. You can't, with your feelings and what you think and what you believe, trump facts. This is about facts over feelings. Hey, Riz Lyricist, when you say the internet is wild as fuck. It is, man. It is, man. Well, show us some facts, Tone. Come on with the facts, Tone. We waiting on you, man. Come on now. Come on. Hey, Riz Lyricist. Hey, Tone, where the facts at, Tone? Come on, bring us up, man. Can we come over to your YouTube channel, man, and see these facts, these undeniable facts that you got over there? You said that with the feds and showed us the tapes. Where they at, man? I ain't playing. I'm dead serious. You said you got facts. They guilty. It's this, it's that. You can't see. This is what I'm saying. You can't run around saying that, and then when you held to account, be like, "Oh man, stop playing." No, I'm serious. Where them facts at, Tom? I'm not protecting Diddy or Jay-Z. I ain't got a dog in the fight. I'm speaking as to the plausible facts of guilty versus not guilty based on the information that's been provided. It's just as simple as that. Like I said, if you don't like Diddy or Jay-Z, you don't like them. That's on you. That ain't got nothing to do with me. care less. You know what I mean? Who I like? You protecting Diddy the J? They don't even. They got billions of dollars and high-priced lawyers to protect them. They don't need me protecting with my little YouTube channel, man. The fact that you even said that says something about how you're thinking. Right? They got lawyers. They got $700 an hour lawyers representing them, man. They don't need me to protect them. Nothing I say is it permissible in court. But if we're gonna have a healthy dialogue, let's have a healthy dialogue. You seen him drugs people. What you mean you seen him drugs people? What you talking about? When he drugs people, man. When he drugs people. I don't know. I ain't seen him do nothing. I ain't never been to none of the parties. You was at the parties, huh, Tone? Tone say he was at the party and he seen him drug people. Is what Tone said. You know what I mean? What was the drug that he was using, Tone? No, I ain't seen no video. I ain't seen no videos of nobody drug. What drugs was he using, Tone? The guys on the white couch. No, I'm not lacking at all. That didn't prove anything. They had everybody. You know the one they had everybody face blurred out. Come on, man, stop it, man. You didn't see that. They were narrating that to you. See, Tony, you didn't. I don't need to see that, Tone. Yeah, you know, right. Like I said, no, Tone. No. I seen that didn't show nobody being drugged, bro. That was somebody trying to allege something that they were trying to narrate something to you in the video. If you wanted to believe that, which tells me that you did, then that's what you believe. We're not here to argue with you, Tone, about what you believe, man. We're not. I'm telling you now, man, what you believe is cool. I'm cool with that. I'm not trying to change what you believe. Yeah, yeah. Carla Shepherd. Hey, Carla, you say you been to Diddy's parties too. Tone, you like your name being said over the chat, don't you, man? You like your name being said. Tone, 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 Tone. Now we done with you. It's all good. Well, Victor TV say less. What'd he say? Yeah, yeah. It's crazy, man. Like I said, when you think about the bigger picture, usually, like I always say, they let John Gotti out of jail. John Gotti was alleged at what, and then confessed to being, the head of a crime family and murders and things like that and all of that. And even John Gotti had got bail. So, like I said, once again, facing basically, what was tax evasion and a few other charges, but like I said, later convicted on certain murders and things like that. Hey, Calvin Mac, Calvin Mick, what you say, Calvin? Calvin say you ain't seen. Calvin say, Tone, you ain't seen a tape of nobody drugging anybody. Stop. Man. Well, oh yeah, okay, yeah. Now, Red Man, that's a good question right there. You mean the Caucasian young cat, right? Well, I mean, I think, well, in being Diddy's drug mule, he can allege that, yo, I was doing this for Diddy, doing that for Diddy. Like I said, and saying a lot of things, and he might got proof, but at the end of the day, they didn't catch Diddy with drugs. They caught him with drugs. And Diddy wasn't a drug dealer. You know as well as I know, when you talk about stuff like that now, if he was a drug dealer, if Diddy was a drug dealer, then that'd be different because now you got a conspiracy charge from that perspective in dealing with that. But we know Diddy wasn't selling drugs to nobody. So I don't know how that would work, but it doesn't stop dude from being a witness and saying some of the things that he may alleged to have saw. And, but like I said, that all comes out in court. That's why I say I always, try to refrain from the knowing of who's guilty, the knowing of who did what, and the knowing of all of these other things. And I'm saying, let your a judgment be reserved, right? Let your judgment be reserved. and then you'll find out once it goes to court. You know what I mean? And so that's what my thing is. So I don't really know, from that perspective, if dude, the guy who got caught when they was getting on the airplane, who got caught with drugs, I don't know what to say about him, but I do know that they probably can, try to flip him, try to make him say some things that happened or didn't happen, or some of the things that he really truly honestly did witness. You know what I mean? And the parts that he played in that, and how he provided Diddy with drugs and so on and so forth. But providing a person with drugs for their personal use is not really a crime per se. You know what I mean? More so than anything, it shows that Diddy had a drug problem, you know, in which he admitted, you know what I mean, when he, made the little, I would say half-ass apology to Cassie after the video came out, in which we all know was wrong. So, oh man. Like I said, even in the case with the young lady, and this goes into what you're saying, Rizzy lyricist, in the case against with the young lady, she came in to this place that didn't exist, claiming that a waitress gave her a drink, and then all of a sudden she started to feel woozy at the age of 13 years old. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're 13 years old and you're drinking any kind of alcohol, and you're not a person, or you're not supposed to be drinking, and you've never drank before, it is going to make one feel woozy, right? So the fact that, listen to me, the fact that that was put in the lawsuit to me against Jay-Z was a red flag, based on the fact that it's like, so what does that mean? She said she got a drink from a waitress, not from Diddy, not from Jay-Z, not from Celebrity B, but a drink from a waitress that made her feel woozy. Does that mean that she was drugged? They can't prove that, right? So the fact that they insinuated that in the lawsuit was a red flag to me. It was like, oh, we same old MO. Somebody saying that, yeah, somebody gave somebody a drink, and so on and so forth. You know. Once again, people are making up stories behind pictures that they seen, just like the fact that they made up the story about Jay-Z. Y'all saying y'all seen the video where somebody put their face in the couch and somebody took a picture, and they could have been joking about how drunk they was, and somebody took the picture. Now taking that picture to come out and be like, yeah, he was drunk, his face was in the couch, and da 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 da. Dude, we don't know. Nobody knows until it's brung to court. Once again, if dude felt like he was drugged and all of this, it never came up. Now that's coming up. Okay. I know, right? That's what I'm trying to call a shepherd. That's what I'm trying to say. People are out here, they're typically believing what somebody's saying. What drug did they use? Can't none of y'all tell me what drug did a person use? What did he use the drug on? What drug was it? Was it GHB? Was it what? Was it Visine? What was it used? What was used? Was it Percocets, Adderall, Zatafran? What was used? You know what I mean? You can't sit up here and claim that something was used to drug somebody and you don't know what it was. There has been no toxicology test proving that any of what they're saying is true. And I understand the evidence barrier is a little bit less in civil court than it is in criminal court, right? So, I understand why they do what they do. I'm glad that, like I said, I see why a lot of us get railroaded, man. Yeah. It was a roofie. What's a roofie, Tone? No. What are y'all talking about? What video? Deny what? Tone, you're not gonna Tone, you're not in here convincing anybody of anything. You don't know. You weren't there. You seen the video. Like the people who may have seen the video. That doesn't mean what you seen is what it actually was. It just doesn't. If you believe that, cool. But you can't come in here trying to convince us to believe it. We don't have to believe what you believe. If you believe that he was drugged and it was a roofie or a ceiling floor, you know what I mean? That's what you believe. Yeah, we're not here to tell you what to believe. Yeah, we're not here to tell you what to believe. Yeah, like I said once again, you know what I'm saying? And then like when they said that, oh, Jay-Z was this, that, and the other, you believe you trying to divert our attention from what the topic of the subject was, which won't work. Like I said, did Tony Buzbee smash the girl in her face with the glass? Did he give her venereal disease? Huh? You know what I mean? Did he try to doctor the medical records to show that to try to make it look like her husband gave her venereal disease instead of him? What do you believe? Does he have a attorney-client letter saying that he signed on to be her divorce attorney? These are the things that we're trying to ask and trying to figure out. Like I said once again, and then when you contrast that to the Jay-Z situation, which was made public, right? We now need Tony Buzbee to come out and do a impromptu PowerPoint presentation on how he doesn't know this woman and how he didn't represent her and how he didn't try to doctor that information, right? In order for that to be believed. You see what I'm saying? Like Jay-Z's lawyer did. The timeline does not match up. What Tony Buzbee tried to do, allegedly by this young lady who had a relationship with him, was change the timeline on the medical records. Instead of it happening in 2018 when she alleged that she received a venereal disease from him, he tried to make it seem like it was in 2020 so he could blame the husband. That's when you try to change the timeline. Jay-Z, in this case right here, when his lawyer presented the timeline, right, he did not try to change the timeline. He went from pictures that were on record that were at this same place at the same time that were given to him, or not even given to him, but actually available on the internet that you could look up already. That speaks to the consciousness of innocence. Yeah, like I said, once again, like they was leaking everything else. Absolutely. Victor Say Less TV. Yeah. Absolutely. Jay-Z, right. Incalculable harm to his billion-dollar empire. What people, right? So, like I said, we absolutely Markeith. Absolutely. Incalculable harm. Meaning you can't even put a dollar amount on it, if you will. Right? And so, like I said, we're gonna see what happens, man. We're gonna see what happens. You know what I mean? But like I said, I appreciate everybody coming through and having this conversation with me. Sorry for the interruptions that will be on my control as far as the webcam going out, if you will. But like I said, I appreciate each and every one of you guys for coming through each and every time, whether we agree or disagree, right? I appreciate your time because you could be anywhere else you want to be. You know what I mean? Yeah, yeah. Tone. I wish you the best, man. Like I said, once again, when you open your mind a little bit more, you're gonna come to the realization that I believe none of what you hear and half of what you see. It's an old term, man. You know what I mean? You might not been a privy to that belief, but none of what you hear and half of what you see until you see the facts that come behind that. All right. One love. Your boy DELRAY. Straight game.